Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cool kids and not so cool kids, and anyone else who might be listening, wanted to share a big win that one of the guys in my coaching group who's just finished up his coaching recently, that he posted this in the group, and I thought I'd read through it. This was his final post as he finished up his coaching. And this guy actually ended up doing 3 years worth of coaching with me. He was one of the first people that I ever coached. And I kind of just had him in the coaching group on basically a discount rate. He was sort of paying monthly. And yeah, I got to work with him for 3 years. And this is some of the stuff or some of the wins that he shared with us. So he says, I first joined this group in complete desperation. My health was shit. My sleep was shit. I had brain fog so bad I was in a food coma for the whole day. All I cared about was survival. I remembered a post that Andy had made where he talked about fixing his own sleep and his brain fog, so I thought, fuck it, I may as well give it a shot. Little did I know that decision would lead to some of the most transformative years of my life. In the last 3 years, I significantly improved my health. Better sleep quality, better allergies, more energy, more brain fog. Sorry, no more brain fog. And ED, as in erectile dysfunction, is a lot better. And yeah, this was like the main reason that this guy came to coaching, was to work on improving his health and improving his sleep. He literally came saying, I want to sleep better. I'm sick of being tired all the time. And I had written an article about it. This article here called How to Fix Your Sleep. And I have a whole bunch of ideas and tips and suggestions and things that I've done. You know, these glasses here, which actually block the light, the blue light from your phone screen and laptop and stuff like that. So they help you sleep. You know, how to meditate, turning down the lights in your apartment or your bed, making your bedroom as dark as possible. I use these things like blackout blinds, using an eye mask, wake lights, blah, 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 using earplugs if you need it, cutting out caffeine or alcohol, you know, after midday or before bed, going to bed at a consistent time, keeping your room colder, melatonin, you know, just a whole bunch of different suggestions on how to sleep a little better. So that was the main thing that this guy came to the coaching group for. And, you know, he had very low energy. He was very like deeply sleep deprived. And I think a lot of people are. Like, it kind of blows my mind how many people have really, really, really poor sleep, myself included in the past. And then they wonder why they have no energy to go outside and, you know, approach women or to go to the gym or anything like that. And I remember this one conversation I had, not with this coaching client, but with a different client, where he was sort of talking to us and he goes, guys, I feel really lazy and unmotivated lately, and I can't work out why I'm being so lazy. And we said, okay, just like talk us through what you're feeling, what you're going through, blah, blah, blah. And he said, I drove to the gym this morning and I was sitting in my car for about half an hour trying to work up the courage to go to the gym. And I'm sitting in the car park outside the gym and I'm too lazy to go inside. And so we sort of talked through all this different stuff. And, you know, is it that you're nervous about working on your body? Is it that you are putting too much pressure on yourself to do amazing workouts? Like, we go through this whole list of possible things that it could be. And, you know, eventually I throw out there, what's your sleep like? Like, you're sleeping decently, right? And he kind of thinks about it for a bit and he's like, well, you know, the last few nights, like 5 nights in a row, I've had 4 hours of sleep each night. And that just immediately made me crack up. And I was like, yeah, dude, no wonder you don't want to get out of the car and go to the fucking gym. I wouldn't want to go to the gym with 4 hours of sleep. Like, everything in my brain and in my body would be screaming, go to bed, go have a nap, go lay down. I wouldn't want to go to the gym. And time again, I see, especially in circles like this one, you know, communities like this one, where we're very hardcore focused on self improvement, people neglect sleep. And there's sort of this almost fetishization of like working extra hard and getting up at like 4 in the morning and hustle culture and busting your ass and putting pressure on yourself and forcing yourself and discipline and motivation and willpower and like go, 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 all that kind of crazy energy. And if you enjoy that stuff, amazing, have fun with that. But you don't have to be this like guy or girl that burns the candle at both ends and just pushes yourself and pushes your body beyond your breaking point. No, you're allowed to enjoy your goals. You're allowed to enjoy progress. Self-improvement is allowed to be fun, and you don't have to suffer to reach your goals. And that was kind of what this guy came to the coaching program for, you know, to get a little bit better sleep, to have a little bit more energy, to feel a little bit more, I guess you would say motivated, not need to force himself as much. And sleep was very much the first thing that we worked on. And he knew that. That's what he came to the program for, to the coaching for. And he says here his ED, as in his erectile dysfunction or performance anxiety, is a lot better as well. Yeah, that was something else we worked on with him. For him, it was a combination of factors. And I've done plenty of videos on erectile dysfunction, performance anxiety, nervousness in the bedroom and stuff like that. And for him, it was a couple of things. It was obviously the sleep, like getting better sleep helped him a lot with his erectile dysfunction, with, I can phrase that in a more positive way, with getting harder erections and, being more present during sex. But probably the biggest thing that worked for him was just not putting pressure on himself. And that was something that I worked through with him. And I work through this a lot with coaching clients and with people where I say, like, how much of this performance anxiety or this erectile dysfunction is you putting pressure on yourself? Like, how much of it is almost maybe an unrealistic expectation that your dick should just be 100% hard all the fucking time? And if it's never hard for 10 minutes during sex, oh my God, something terrible has happened. There's something wrong with me. I'm broken. I've said this a million times. I've had 500 times in my life where I've had erectile dysfunction or performance anxiety. I just don't care. I just do other stuff. Like, if my dick doesn't want to perform, if my dick's only half hard one time, because maybe I'm tired, maybe I'm stressed, when I'm stressed and I have a lot on my mind, my dick doesn't work a lot of the time. But I just don't care. I'll focus on foreplay. I'll focus on using these little things, my fingers. I'll focus on using my mouth, my tongue. I'll use all the toys that I have. I'll use all the vibrators and stuff like that. Vibrators like this. This one's just called the Satisfier Pro. That's one of my favorite ones. I also like this one. It's just, you'd call this a magic wand, but this one in particular is a Doxy magic wand. But any magic wand vibrator will do. Get some, if you're into it, BDSM toys, get a little crop. You want to be super kinky, get a collar and chain. What else have I got here? This, just use some massage oil, give your partner a massage and they can give you a massage, and then have plenty of foreplay, give them orgasms. You can edge them, get them right to the edge of orgasm, then stop at the last possible second. Do that a few times. There's so many different things that you can do. And I've obviously done a ridiculous amount of content on BDSM and sex and having better sex and all of that, but it doesn't have to just involve your dick. And I think that was probably the biggest thing that we got across to him was look, you're putting all this pressure on yourself and you're putting all this pressure on your dick. You have this insane burden, or you're putting this insane burden on your penis to always be the center of attention. And if your dick is ever not hard, you're basically saying, oh shit, I can't have sex. I should be embarrassed and humiliated and ashamed about the fact that my dick isn't working. And we sort of got him to start exploring a little bit more, I guess you could say BDSM, but more just other things that you can do in the bedroom. Like I said, toys, ropes, handcuffs, all the stuff that I just showed on the screen, and a billion other things. But basically, foreplay. There's so much more to you than just your dick. And I think we guys do this funny thing where we almost objectify ourselves in the bedroom. And we say, my dick is the center of attention. And if my dick isn't hard, then I'm not a man. I'm not masculine if my dick ever gets soft. And it's take some pressure off and, use some of the other stuffs at your disposal, fingers, mouth, toys, all that kind of shit. He goes on to say he also did a complete 180 with women. He went from nervous and frustrated to confident, experienced, and more Tinder matches than he knows what to do with. He could go on and on with this, everything from dates to Tinder, cold approach, retention, conflict resolution, pretty much every single area. Yeah, 100%. This guy, obviously, because we worked with him for 3 years, you're going to expect a lot of changes in 3 years, right? And he really did. He's understating how much effort he put into his dating and how, he's been quite humble here with everything that he's written. When he first joined us, he was convinced that women wouldn't really like him. I think he'd had a little bit of sexual and dating experience, but he was pretty fucking certain that he was never going to be good with women. He was an Asian guy, and he was a little bit, or I guess he's still an Asian guy, isn't he? He is an Asian guy, and he was a little bit insecure and nervous about that at the start. And yeah, it's hard to sort of overstate how much or how many changes he made when it comes to dating and sex and relationships. He really did go from a guy who hadn't had much experience. He'd had a little bit, like I said, but he learned how to, or we helped him improve his Tinder, just 50 iterations of his Tinder profile over like 3 years and his Hinge profile and that. We got him outside to start approaching women, which was something he hadn't really done before. He got to a point where he started dating and seeing some women for a decent amount of time. And then we taught him how to work through like conflict resolution or how to resolve tension in a relationship, how to build a relationship, how to be honest and vulnerable with a woman, because that was something he fucking really struggled with at the start. He's a very like masculine guy, and he was sort of worried that opening up and being honest and sharing his feelings and stuff like that would be seen as like weak, or that she wouldn't like him, she would leave, any of that sort of stuff. So yeah, this guy really did, when he says like I did a complete 180 with women, that is like understatement of the year. He went from a like inexperienced guy who wasn't confident talking to women outside, didn't really know what he was doing on dating apps, to, he had one week where he was like, holy shit, like I have too many dates, like I'm having too much sex, this is crazy, and then building something with, I think, two women, but especially one that I can remember, building something with her. And then he would come in the group a lot of times and say, hey, she and I had this argument and I don't know if we're going to break up. Everything inside me is saying I should probably just break up with her. It's a lost cause. He was someone that was very like, I won't say he was adverse to conflict resolution, but it was more just his like gut reaction was like hyper masculine man who's just like, not fuck this, I'm leaving, I'm going to go find another woman. And, if you want to do that, fine, brilliant. But we would sort of say to him, well, what if you just talk to her and say this? And he'd go like, can I really just be that honest? And we'd be like, yeah, dude, why don't you just try saying what you just said to us? Try saying that to her and see how it goes. And he would post like the next day and say, hey, I followed your guys' advice. I talked to her. We sat down for like 20 minutes, half an hour. We talked it all out. Holy shit, I'm so glad I didn't break up with her. If you guys hadn't been there for me, I would have just broken up with her. And he ended up seeing one girl, I think for like over a year or so. I don't know if they're even still seeing each other. They might be, but yeah, he was like very honest with her. He's obviously in an open, he was, if he isn't or still, he was in an open relationship with her. It was just really amazing to see this guy go from like very inexperienced and very like uncertain and nervous around women to then getting really good at sex, really good at dating. He learned some BDSM as well. He tried all of that. He got really into that stuff to then go from that to like, okay, I think I'm going to start taking a leap of faith and try being vulnerable and honest with a woman and try building something, and basically built a relationship with her. So that was really amazing. Yeah. I think he's very much like understating it when he says did a complete 180 with women. That just sounds like a cliche sentence, but it's like, no, this guy like really did come a long way. And I mean, you'd expect that, right? Like if you're going to work with a coach and, more to the point, put a lot of focus on your dating and your relationship life for 3 years, yeah, you would expect big changes. But this guy did like a hell of a lot. Like it was very inspiring watching him too, especially like it's just one little bit here, but the conflict resolution was probably the biggest thing that I saw him change. Like he really did get very good at, I wouldn't even phrase it as conflict resolution, it's more like communication skills and being like honest and open, and not just wanting to run away from every little disagreement or every little bit of tension in the relationship. Like I said at the start, he was very much of the mindset of like, if there's any conflict in a relationship, fuck it, I'm just going to leave. I'm going to go find someone else. And, ultimately we would have supported him if he wanted to do that. But it really was just like, sometimes we would throw it out there and be like, do you want to just try talking to her? And he'd go, oh, fine, but it's probably going to be hopeless anyway. And we'd be like, well, do you want to try? And he'd come back the next day and be like, holy shit, I talked to her. Oh my God, thank you guys for pushing me. So yeah, that was amazing to see. He goes on to say he transformed his body, got visible abs for the first time, set many PRs in the gym, and learned how to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah, sometimes I forget when I think about this guy. I forget that like he hadn't done BJJ when he came to the group, but like that became such an integral part of who he was. Like he was just training like 5 times a week, and he got really hardcore into that. His body, he was really happy with it for the first time in his life. Like he said, he got to abs. He kept pushing PRs in the gym. Yeah, he very much was the definition of like just show up and be consistent. And he made so many changes with his body. Probably a more exciting thing for a lot of you is that he quit porn. So he talked about how he used to edge for hours a day and now he has no urge to watch it. Yeah, that was really interesting watching him go through this. Like, I remember he made this post in the group after a couple of years of being in the coaching, and he was just like, holy shit, you guys, like, something clicked in my head recently, and I realized I haven't looked at porn for like 4 months, and I haven't been had the urge to. And we are like, wow, dude, holy shit. Like, do you want to make a bigger post about it and tell us some of the things that you've learned? And he went down, he obviously he made that post, and he went down this route where he's like, he started giving advice to some of the other people in the group of like how to quit porn, how to move away from it. And by the way, if any of you are interested in that, if any of you end up signing up for coaching, this guy is we have like a members only community section of coaching. They get to stay in there forever for the rest of your life. We have like a little Discord channel and shit just for the coaching clients and past coaching clients. And this guy's in there and he's still giving advice to other people. We have a few people in there who are like experts on quitting porn or doing nofap, and they like absolutely just like coach each other and do a great job, like coach each other for free. They're giving advice. But yeah, if that's something you're interested in, if you end up signing up for coaching, you can talk to this guy and hear his advice. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is he started down this route of like coaching the other people in the group and giving advice. And then I remember he had a conversation with me one day where he was like, I can see myself being like a coach where I coach people on like giving up porn or working through their addiction or looking at less porn, you know. So that was absolutely amazing to see him come so far from the guy who would watch porn or edge to porn for hours a day. And he felt, obviously he was beating himself up for that. He felt very unproductive when he was doing that. Watching him go from that to like, holy shit, I'm actually giving advice and helping other people and inspiring them and helping them go through their own journey of looking at less porn or being more sexually free, if you want to call it that. That was really amazing. That happens a lot in coaching, as I'm sure you can imagine. Like lots of the people that come to the coaching program, I mean, the same thing happened with me. It's like you'll change your life and you'll make all these big, amazing changes. And then you just like naturally want to help other people. Like, of course, you want to give back. It's why I'm sitting here as a coach myself, because lots of people helped me and I want to help them, or I want to help others. But it's really amazing being the coach who will like, because you're in this beautiful position where you're like at the top, like you have a top down view. You're looking at all of the clients and you can see everything. And you'll watch people like come up through the ranks and make these big changes in their life and be more happy and free. And then they get to this beautiful point where a lot of them will then turn to us and say, hey, how can I do what you guys are doing? How can I like coach other people? Or how can I, at the very least, help some people in my life and give advice? Like, how can I best impact the world in a positive way? That's really beautiful to watch. It's such a rewarding thing that I get to do, that I get to sit here and help people, and then those people that go on to help other people. It's amazing. He goes on to say he went from unemployed and directionless to having a solid career and income. Yeah, I forgot about that. Obviously, if you work with someone for 3 years, they're going to make a lot of changes that you kind of just like, they become normal. Like you forget about it. Do you know what I mean? Like this guy changed his life in like 50 different ways, but I sometimes forget all the changes that he made. But yeah, he has a really cool career. He works in like software engineering, which most of my clients are. Most of you are big nerds. I am too. But yeah, that was really cool. He goes on to say he learned to handle many situations with good intentions instead of hostility. Yeah, this is another understatement of the year. He was someone that was very quick to, like I said, just like run away from any situation. Not run away, but just like leave the situation and go, no, I'm not going to resolve that. I don't care. I'm going to move on. And he had a very like lone wolf mindset about life. He's like, I'm going to be on my own. I don't need to like ever work with anyone. Obviously, he was working with us in the coaching program, but he was like, I don't ever need to fix anything. I don't need to ever resolve anything. I'll just leave a situation and go to another one. And great, like at the end of the day, do whatever you want. But we sort of showed him another way of like, you can just talk to people and be honest. If your boss is pissing you off at work, what if you just tell him that in a nice, like, compassionate, gentle way? But what if you literally just say, boss, here's what I'm feeling, here's what I'm thinking, how can we solve this problem? And like there was probably 50 times where he wanted to just either blow up at someone, like yell at them, or just leave the situation and ignore it and like walk away from it. And we gave him some gentle, didn't even take much effort. It was like gentle prodding towards like, do you want to just talk about this with the person? And he would do it. And then every single fucking time he would post in the group and be like, holy shit, I sat that person down, whether it was his boss or his next door neighbor at one point. His next door neighbor was being really loud and he was really pissed off at it and he wanted to like go over there and yell at his neighbor. And we taught him to just treat your neighbor like they're on the same team. That's just another human being. Be compassionate to them. And probably like 50 times he would post in the group and go, holy shit, like that was life changing. I'm so glad you guys gently pushed me towards talking it through, especially some of the women's stuff, like the women that he was dating, when he would like just talk to them and be compassionate or just even be neutral, not go in there with assumptions or preconceived notions or expectations of what they would say or how the conversation would go. He would just go in there and be gentler than he normally would be. And man, like I said, 50 times he was like, holy shit, this was life changing. So that's another understatement from him. He made so many changes with that, with just, I guess you would say conflict resolution, but really just like compassion towards other human beings. And then the very next one, better relationships with friends and family. Yeah, that one really ties into what I just said. Like his relationships with friends and family improved literally just because he was more honest. He was more compassionate. He jumped to conclusions a lot less. Like he was less reactionary, less assumptions, less preconceived notions. We got him to let go of some of his limiting beliefs. And yeah, this one changed a lot. He goes on to say more courage to do what he wants instead of being constrained by fears of what others think. Yeah, this was a big one for sure. One of the things that I ask people a lot in the coaching program is, what do you want? And I say this in the content a lot too, but obviously I'm not talking directly to you right now as you're listening. I am talking to you, but like I don't know you as I'm talking right now. You listening, there's a weird thing that happens when you listen to my content. You're listening to me, but I'm not listening to you. I don't know you. You're one of like 1,000 people that might listen to this video or this podcast. But when I work with someone one-on-one, I get to look them in the eyes and say, what do you want? And all of you can do that yourself. You can go into the bathroom or go into wherever you have a mirror, look into your own eyes in the mirror and say, what do I want? Or what do you want? Either of those is fine. But to just start asking yourself or practicing asking what you want instead of what other people tell you to do or what you should do or what you think the right answer is, blah, 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 blah. I did this video on the channel or a 3-part series, a couple of months ago. And it was called I Broke All the Rules and It Made Me a Success. This one here, this is the first video. And then up here, here's the second one, part 2. And then here's part 3. And in those 3 videos, I basically talked about how society programs us, and it's not a nefarious thing, but society programs us with a whole bunch of like rules and expectations that help you fit in. It's done from a good place. Like people want you to fit in. They want you to be safe. They want you to be happy and all of that. But there's a lot of expectations and rules that society will have for you. And obviously your friends and family, especially your family, will have rules for you and things they want you to do. They have ideas of who they want you to be and all of that. And a lot of that stuff is helpful and it comes from a good place, society and your family and all of that. They want you to be happy. School wants you to be happy. The police and society want you to be safe and happy. The government wants you to be safe and secure and all of that. But those things might not always be good for you because they're not personalized. If I'm society or the people in society, if I'm trying to give blanket rules for every single person, which could be millions or hundreds of millions of people in each country, right? I can't possibly come up with a set of rules that would be helpful to every single person. Some people aren't going to benefit from those rules, especially given the rules for the most part are there for safety and security, and if you're obsessed or if you maximize for safety and security, you're probably less likely to take risks or go for ambitious things that might fail or risk rejection or risk making a mistake or any of these sort of things. And so generally speaking, most people in most of your lives want you to be safe and secure. And they're going to encourage you or give you rules or expectations, like rules, that will help you play it safe. Like they want you to play it safe. Most of your family probably want you to play it safe because they don't want you to die or be unhappy. Society wants you to play it safe because then the police don't have to deal with you and, people don't have to get rejected or don't have to reject you. Most people want you to just be sort of normal or average. because then they can kind of ignore you and they don't have to worry about you. You don't stand out in any way, so it's fine. They don't have to worry about you. The government doesn't have to worry about you. Police don't have to worry about you. Other people don't have to worry about you. You're not going to ever make a mistake or risk a failure. So they want you to play it safe. And again, that's not a nefarious thing. People want you to be safe and secure. That's a beautiful thing. But it might not be what you want. Some of the goals that a lot of you have are things like you want to have an amazing sex life. That requires you to not play it safe. Like, to some degree, if you want an amazing sex life, you're probably going to have to talk to a decent chunk of people to find the ones that want to build an amazing sex life with you. If you want a really amazing relationship, that's probably not going to happen with the very first person that you go on a date with, right? Chances are they're probably not going to be the best match for you. You might have to go and date quite a few people, or at least go on first dates with a few people before you find someone that you think, hey, this person's awesome. I would like to build something with them. And so these big goals that a lot of you have, if making money is something that's important to you, if doing what I do and putting yourself out there, putting your ideas and your philosophies and your face and your sex life, in my case, out there into the world, that's not playing it safe. People reject you, or people might try and reject you. People might try and criticize you. Those things aren't safe. But a lot of you do have those big ambitious goals that might require you to take a little leap of faith, or to do something that scares you, or to do something that you're afraid of, right? And so this client in particular, as he says, in the coaching, we helped him have more courage to do what he wants instead of being constrained by fears of what others might think. Really, it's not even the courage to do what you want. It's really just, and like I'm saying, this is what I get people to do in the coaching program. It's just the permission to start saying to yourself, what do I want? So like I said, you can go into the bathroom and look in your own eyes and say, what do I want? Like, what's actually important to me? Not what other people want for me, not what society thinks I should do, not even what Andy wants for me. By the way, I don't want anything for any of you other than what you want, but you might think that I want things for you. I get this a lot where people will assume that I have expectations of what you should do. Well, Andy's in an open relationship, therefore Andy must think that everyone should be in an open relationship, even though I've never once said that. But, you just make that false assumption. People do that all the time. Andy's having a lot of sex, therefore if I don't have a lot of sex, then I'm not as good as Andy. I never once said that ever, but you might make that false assumption. People do that a lot. I run into that a lot, where people think that what Andy's doing is what everyone else should do who's, following the content. No. Do whatever you want. But yeah, it's just that permission, giving yourself that permission to start saying, what do I want? And I'm going to start taking some baby steps towards that, start taking a little bit of action to work towards that. And that was what we worked on with this coaching client and all the clients. Like, that's the first question I ask people, what do you want? And then I'll ask them that 100 times. And anytime in the coaching, it happens a lot where people will say, what's the right answer here? What should I do? Hey guys, can you just tell me like the right thing to do? And every single time I will say, what do you want? And they'll go, well, fuck, okay. I guess what I want is this. And then they have the answer to the question. I did a podcast on this a while ago where I said, you have all the answers inside yourself. You just haven't looked. You're so used to looking to the experts, or looking to your family, or looking to daddy government, or looking to the guy on YouTube or the guy on Instagram. You're so used to looking at the so-called expert that you've never bothered to ask yourself, what do I want? What do I think? What would I like to try? It's kind of like the folly of humanity, is that we're so focused on some external expert or some daddy government, or mummy or daddy who's going to tell us what to do, that we don't realize that most of the time the answer is in you. Like, you already have the answer. And so many times I will say to someone, they're asking me for the right answer, or what they think what I think they should do. And when I can say to them, what do you want? They will sit there with that for, sometimes it takes a couple of minutes, sometimes it takes a day or two. They'll sit with that, and eventually they'll come up with an answer. An answer will just appear out of nowhere, and they'll say, I think I want to try this. And then I'll go, great, go try that. They'll go try that. They'll come back. Either that did work or it didn't work. Feedback is important. They'll get some feedback and say, oh, I tried it. It didn't work. Okay, I think I want to try this other thing now. Amazing. Or that did work. I can't believe that I figured out what to do. And it's like, yeah, Like, you have all the answers within you. And if not, you'll try some things and you'll figure it out and you'll get some feedback and see what works and see what doesn't. You're all capable of finding out all the answers to all the questions that you'll ever have in life, but you're likely just very used to looking towards an expert, listening to some random guy on YouTube. I've said this a million times. Like, I'm just some random fucking bald guy. There you go, beautiful bald man. I'm just some beautiful bald man on the internet. I don't have all the answers for you. That's your job. I'm not your daddy. But my mission is to just help guide you towards asking yourself that question, what do I want? And then moving in that direction. He goes on to say he met some awesome people here, as in the coaching program, who've changed his life and who get him like nobody else has. Yeah, who understand him. Yeah, that's a big part of coaching. A lot of people come to coaching literally just because they're like, I have all these goals. I've tried talking to my friends and family and they just don't get it. And I'm coming to a coaching program literally so I can just have some people that will push me with my goals and won't talk me out of them. Like, that's a big part of it. And like I said, we have the members only section that you get to be in for the rest of your life. So a lot of people like network in there and then travel to each other's countries or to each other's states, and they'll meet each other. We've had so many meetups in the coaching group. Some people have even, like, in the coaching program, like, become friends through the coaching program, because something that we do with every coaching client is we get you to pair up like a buddy system with one other person from the coaching, and you're kind of like accountability partners with each other. Some people have ended up moving in with their accountability partners. We've had some people, Ravi is a really good example, Ravi and a couple of other guys in the group, who like literally went to different countries and moved in together with some of the people from the coaching group. So yeah, if you're looking for something like that in your life, like if you wish that you had some people who are on a mission, who have big ambitious goals and who want to live a life that isn't normal, like, not that there's anything wrong with normal, but like they want to live an exceptional life where maybe they take some risks and color outside the lines a little bit. Coaching program is beautiful for that, like just for networking with other people. And he goes on to say, overall life experience, now I make many more decisions based on judgment and what I want. Yeah, that's what I said before, like asking yourself, what do you actually want? Instead of making guesses or depending on others for guidance. Yeah, everything I just said before. Like a big part of the coaching program is like giving you the tools to ask yourself what you want and then start taking baby steps towards that. And honestly, a big part of it is also like something we work on with people is like caring less about what others think, or not defining yourself based on whether other people will approve of you or not. And obviously, it's nice when people approve of us, like that feels nice, but not being beholden to that, not needing the validation or the approval of other people. In other words, having your own mission that's important to you and then going for that. And then I guess also finding people who support that mission. Because, yeah, sometimes you'll have people in your life where you start changing things and you start making progress or setting big goals, and people will actively like talk you out of it and say to you like, oh, why are you going to the gym? You're beautiful as you are. Or, I like you how you are. Why are you doing this? Or you don't have to make lots of money. Money is shallow and blah, blah, blah. Like in that case, sometimes we've had a lot of people in the coaching program do this. They spend less time with those people, or they sort of like cut them off entirely sometimes, in some cases. Usually you don't have to cut people off. You just spend a bit less time with them, or you don't tell them about your goals. When you hang out with them, you just keep it sort of like chill and casual, and you don't tell them about your self-improvement if they're going to talk you out of it. But yeah, that's a big part of this. I myself cut off a few friends like when I first started self-improvement, but I didn't really have any friends when I started this shit. But yeah, I got to a point where like a couple of my family members would not like actively talk me out of goals, but just like have reservations and be like, oh, are you sure that's safe? Are you sure what you're doing is okay? And so I just told them less about my goals, or I would tell them about goals once I had succeeded. So I would go to the gym for a year, make all this progress with my body, and then I would show them a before and after picture. And I'd go, I'm really happy. I'm really healthy. Look at all this progress that I've made. And they go, wow, I had no idea you were doing that. Or I would tell them, I'm working on my dating life, but I would tell them like a year or two later, once I'd had all these experiences and met these beautiful women and had this great time. And, then I would say, hey, I've been working on my dating. Here's how it's going. It's really amazing. So yeah, you can do that too. Anyway, he goes on to say, another big change has been a change in mindset. That's been his biggest change. And that's what most people change in the coaching. It's funny that most people come to the coaching, and maybe some of you listening might feel like this too. you probably think that you're watching this channel, or you might come to the coaching. You probably think you're watching to achieve a goal. Like, oh, I'm going to watch Andy because he'll help me have more sex. I'm going to watch Andy because he'll help me start a business. I'm going to watch Andy because he motivates me to, I don't know, go after my goals and lose weight or whatever it is that you're working on. But like, the thing you don't realize is, no, this channel exists here, and my coaching absolutely exists to change your mindset, to get you to be more open minded, to get you to be more honest, to get you to have less preconceived notions, to get you to be less judgmental towards yourself, towards others, towards the universe, to get you to argue with reality less and accept reality a little bit more, and then work with it instead of arguing and wishing other people were different, or wishing your boss was nicer to you, or wishing this, or hating yourself, or beating yourself up. Like, the biggest reason, or the biggest factor for change with my coaching and my content, is to get you to change your mindset, or to help you change your own mindset, really, to get you to move into a more, like I said, open-minded, maybe more loving, more honest, maybe even you would call it more spiritual, but that word might not resonate with all of you. But I'm getting you to be a little bit more open-minded and stuff like that. Getting you to believe in yourself a little bit more. That's obviously mindset. Like, understand that my coaching and my content is basically therapy for your brain. You think you're here to just get your fucking dick wet, or get your fucking vagina filled, or make some money or something. No, fuck that. Like, that's almost a side effect of improving your mindset. But mindset is the thing that I care about the most. He goes on to say, one of the first things Andy told me was, so what? As in, bad sleep, so what? Anxiety, so what? Your dick won't get hard, so what? And what he means by that is, another way that I phrase it is, and that's okay. As in, someone might say to me, man, I got the worst sleep ever. It's so bad. And I'll say, you got bad sleep, and that's okay. Tonight we can just prioritize the sleep, and we'll catch up on the sleep. Maybe today you'll be a little bit tired. I'm really tired. I laid on the couch for like an hour before I sat here to record this podcast. I'm really tired this morning. I just don't say it's a bad thing. I woke up this morning, dead tired, laid on the couch for an hour, and I was like, I'm laying on the couch because I'm sleepy, and that's okay. Maybe I'll do a podcast later, and if I don't, that's okay. Like, just literally saying, and that's okay, or in this case, I used to say, so what? Like, you're tired, you're anxious, so what? But I prefer now to say, and that's okay. But that is such a game changer, saying like, I'm really anxious to talk to this woman over there, or talk to that woman over there. I'm really nervous to go on a date with this guy, and that's okay. I'm really terrified that my boss is going to fire me if I do a bad job, and that's okay. Well, that'll be okay. My dick doesn't work, and that's okay. I can just do other things. But when you say, and that's okay, you're then, you sort of calm down, you're okay. And then you can start looking for solutions or baby steps that you can take next, But all this time spent saying, I got bad sleep, and that's bad, and it's terrible, it's awful. Like, you're literally not looking for a solution because you're busy like complaining about the problem or focusing on the negatives of the problem. But if you instead just say, I got bad sleep, and that's okay. What am I going to do about it? What would I like to do about it? How can I prioritize my sleep tonight? Do I want to have a nap this afternoon? Do I want to just take it easy and chill today and not really push myself? Or do I want to go the opposite and sort of make a fun challenge out of how productive can I be even though I'm tired? Can I make a fun game out of being tired but then having a kick-ass day anyway? Could that be fun? But when you say, and that's okay, or so what? Or does that have to be a bad thing? That's something else that I'll say sometimes. Someone will complain about something, or they'll say, I'm so anxious. And I'll go, is that a bad thing? And then they'll go, oh, I guess it doesn't have to be a bad thing. Or my other fun exercise is I'll say, give me 3 reasons why that could possibly be a good thing. You're anxious as hell to talk to that woman who's sitting over there on the bench. You're anxious about approaching her. Give me 3 reasons why that anxiety could be a good thing. Wow. Okay. I guess the anxiety is motivation and energy to go and like push myself and do something challenging. And if I do push myself to go talk to her, wow, that'll feel really exciting, especially because I was so anxious. That's another reason that it could be a good thing. The fact that I'm so anxious, if I then do it, I almost get bonus points because it's like, wow, I was so anxious and yet I did it anyway. Wow. What's a third reason it could be a good thing? Well, if I do go and talk to her, I would probably inspire other people and I would show them, look, I was anxious and I still managed to do it. If you're anxious, you can still manage to do it. Maybe a fourth reason, while I'm on a roll, what's 4 reasons? A fourth reason could be If I go over there, I can be honest about the fact that I'm anxious. I can literally say, hey, I was anxious to talk to you, but I wanted to say, hey. And maybe she's anxious when I'm talking to her because, hey, I'm just a random stranger who came over to her and hit on her. She's probably nervous and anxious. I tell her I'm anxious and she goes, oh, I'm a bit nervous too. Now we can be nervous together. We're not so, there's not this big distance between us where we're both pretending that we're not anxious, but we really are anxious. So, yeah, anxiety can be a beautiful thing. Any of these things can be a beautiful thing. They can be a good thing. And that's one of my favorite exercises is I'll either say, and that's okay, or I'll say, give me 3 reasons why this could be a good thing. So that was something that he worked on a lot. Basically, what I'm teaching you there is something called reframing, or you might call it stoicism, or if you're into therapy and psychology, you might call it cognitive behavioral therapy, where you're basically just taking something that you think is a negative, I'm anxious or I got bad sleep or my dick isn't working, you think that's a negative, you're basically just turning it and saying a positive. I talked about this a ton in my video course, the Play to Win video course. There's a link in the description below to that. I have a bunch of chapters where I literally talk about reframing. This is the list of chapters in the book. So the second one, I talk about reframing, like playing to win instead of playing not to lose. In other words, focus on the victory or focus on the positive instead of focusing on the negative. I talk about every problem has a solution, but this one here is the main one that I'm referring to. Everything that happens to me is good. I talk about like literally how to find the good in everything, even the things that you feel like are negative. And then I cover it again in this chapter. Everything is a story and you're in control of the stories you tell. So all of that is in the Play to Win video course. There's a link in the description below. You guys and girls know where that is. I've talked about it a billion times. You can even pay $1 for that video course if you would like to. It's basically a donation video course. Whatever you want to donate to me, you can do that. So that's down below. So he goes on to say, it's been a recurring theme in my life, learning to accept the situation first before trying to interfere. It's been like an ultimate cheat code in life and has been crucial in many of my accomplishments. Yeah, exactly what I'm saying. If you can accept where you are right now, you're like, I'm anxious. Okay, that's okay that I'm anxious. You're then in a situation or you then have the space to start solving that problem or solving that thing or working towards, a better outcome, improving. But if you sit there and say, I'm anxious and that's bad, I shouldn't be anxious, I hate this, it's not fair, why am I anxious? You're not going to come up with a solution because you're too busy arguing with reality. You're literally wasting energy and time saying, I shouldn't be here right now, I shouldn't be anxious, it shouldn't be like this isn't fair. You're like expending energy that you could be dedicating towards improving that situation or accepting the situation and then changing it. It reminds me of the Bible quote, which is one of my favorite quotes ever. This is called the Serenity Prayer, and it goes, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I say this all the fucking time, even if you're not religious, which I'm not religious, but this quote, oh my God, I say this to so many people in the coaching program, and especially the first bit, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, which so much of what we argue with is something that we can't change, or reality is the way that it is. Like if you're angry about it raining, let's say you fucking hate when it's raining and cold. If it's raining and cold right now, is that something that you can change right this second? Can you like literally scream at the sky and be like, hello, fucking little man who lives up there, or hello, little fucking clouds, can you please stop raining on me because I hate you? No, you can't change that. And so the first step is accepting that, okay? It's raining and it's cold. Fine. I can't fucking change that. And then the second part is the courage to change the things you can. Okay, I can't stop it from raining and I can't stop it from being cold. What can I change? Well, I could put a jacket on. I could not go outside. I could start taking some steps towards moving to a location that has warmer weather. I could go traveling during winter, so I'm away from the cold, and then come back when it's summer and it's a bit warmer. I could put the heater on. I could put more layers on. I said wear a jacket. I could just embrace the fact that it's cold and be okay with being cold. And then when I come home, I can, be in the warm heater again. Like I will change the things that I actually can fucking affect. And then the last bit is the wisdom to know the difference. And that just comes with practice. But yeah, this guy absolutely embraced that prayer of like, accepting the situation first and then try and change it. But he was spending a lot of, or wasting a lot of energy arguing with things that he couldn't change. Like getting pissed off that his boss was grumpy or something. And it's like, you can't stop your boss being grumpy, But you can have a conversation with your boss, or you can take time away from your boss, or you can just not let it bother you, or you can talk to other people there about it, or you can quit and get a better job, or you can come up with a list of 10 reasons why you're grateful that your boss is grumpy. That might sound insane, but like when you practice it, you come to see that everything in life has positive upsides if you're willing to look for them. 10 reasons why I'm grateful that my boss is grumpy. Well, it helps me appreciate people who are not grumpy. Well, it gives me motivation to be kinder and more compassionate myself because I see how it feels to be around someone that's grumpy. I don't like that. I want to make sure that other people who spend time around me get to feel a nice experience and be, happy and loved and all of that. So, yeah, there's positive reasons in everything. Again, I talk about that in the Play to Win video course. There's a link down below to that. He goes on to say, looking back, I'm still in disbelief sometimes. That's a common statement lots of people say when they come out of the coaching. They're like, holy fuck, I can't believe my life is my life. I did a video the other day where I talked about how grateful I am to all of you. And I often feel like my life is like some weird fucking fake roller coaster that like, it feels so surreal. There's so much beautiful abundance in my life that I'm so grateful to all of you and grateful to the universe and grateful to everyone that ever helped me, grateful to my girlfriend, my family, all of that. There's so much abundance that sometimes I'm in disbelief. So I really get when people say that. Lots of you in the audience probably feel like that, right? Like lots of you have beautiful lives and you're like, man, I can't believe that I get to live this cool life. You have so much to be grateful for. Like I put on a VR headset to sneak into someone else's life only to realize that someone is myself and it's for real. Yeah, the analogy that I use a lot when I explain how my life feels is I feel like I snuck into the backstage of like a VIP after party or something, like a VIP backstage pass that I'm not supposed to be there and I don't have the pass. And nobody asked me for my ID or if I'm supposed to be there. They didn't ask me if I'm on the list. And I go up to people and I'm like, yo, I'm not supposed to be back here with all of you, like doing cool people shit, mixing with the celebrities, like having this amazing life. I'm not supposed to be doing all of this. And they're all just like, yeah, bro, we don't care. You can just like hang out here. And I'm like, but you guys know that I'm not cool, right? And they're like, no, we think you're cool. And I'm like, but I'm not as like worthy as all of you. I shouldn't be back here in the VIP section. Like I'm supposed to be a loser. I was supposed to kill myself. Like I was depressed. I'm not supposed to be having amazing sex or having a girlfriend that loves me and we've been together for 6 years and built all this beautiful stuff together. I'm not supposed to have 40,000 YouTube subscribers. I'm not supposed to have a coaching business. Like I'm not cool. I'm not supposed to have that stuff. And all of them are just like, bro, just appreciate it. Hey, like that's how I often feel. So yeah, I get when people feel like that. Life just feels like a beautiful gift. I still have infinite room to grow and plenty of areas where I'm not satisfied, but I can't help but look back and see how far I've come. Yeah, this guy's come a long way. Thanks to Andy and later on Cameron, Ed, and Taylor. Those are the other 3 coaches in the program. And we all coach people together for coaching me and for everyone else who's helped me along the way. Yeah, this guy did a hell of a lot. Probably, like I said, the biggest stuff, where is it? The mental health stuff, whatever. I can't scroll and find it, but like the mindset stuff that he changed is probably his biggest fucking change. This guy really did come a long way. And like this post that he made is him being like pretty humble, but he made some insane changes in like, I mean, he was working on it for 3 years, but like, yeah, goddamn, like this guy is the epitome of like, he doesn't recognize his old self. And I think if we went back 3 years in the past and told his old self, like, hey, here's everything you're going to achieve, you're going to be at a point where you don't get irrationally angry and butthurt over everything everyone does. You're going to be at a point where you can be honest with women. You're going to get to a point where you know how to have sex and you have more sex than you can handle. And then you date a woman for like a year and you guys build something together. And you're going to have this amazing job and you're going to fix your erectile dysfunction. In fact, you won't even see it as a problem anymore. You're going to improve your sleep. You're going to like do all this crazy shit. I think his past self from 3 years ago would have said like, sir, you are a liar and a fraud. There's no way that's possible. And that's pretty common. Like in self-improvement communities, a lot of you will probably feel the same. Like it's a fun exercise. Those of you who are a little further along with your self-improvement, it's a fun exercise to look back like 3 or 5 years and sort of go over who you were at that time and try and remember what you were thinking and how you were feeling. And maybe you felt very hopeless back then. You didn't think you'd ever make it. And then to sort of like reflect where you are now. This is something that Imogen and I do literally every week. Like every single week, we do what we call an accountability check-in. So we'll go for a walk together. We'll spend the whole day together. It's kind of like our couples day. And as part of that, we'll ask each other a bunch of questions like, how is the relationship going? How are we going? How's our lives going? How are our goals going? What are we grateful for? How can we feel more love towards the world and other people and the universe and each other and all of that? And this is something that I get all of my coaching clients to do too. Like when you come to the coaching program, like I said, we pair you up like two people together and you're each other's buddies, and you will do a weekly accountability check-in with each other. Anyway, one of the questions that Imogen and I ask each other is like, let's look back 3 years ago. What are we grateful for now that we didn't have 3 years ago? Like what mindset shifts have we made? What knowledge do we now have that we didn't have 3 years ago? What progress have we made in our relationship? What progress have we made with like money or financial abundance, or not having to stress about paying the bills? Like what mindset shifts have we made in self-love and enlightenment and spirituality and peace and all that good, beautiful stuff? Like what progress have we made compared to 3 years ago? And that's something any of you can do that as well if you want to. Like once a week, do it with a friend, or do it if you're in my coaching program, do it with your accountability partner, do it by yourself if you want to. Look back like a year or 2 or 3. For those of you who are new to self-improvement, just look back like 3 months or something. Look back a couple of months and come up with 1 or 2 or 3 things that you're grateful for, pieces of knowledge or progress you've made or something that you didn't have, in the past. And that can be a really beautiful exercise to help you with gratitude. But yeah, that's about all I wanted to say. This guy, I'm super grateful to him. I'm grateful for him reading this post or making this post and then being okay or being happy for me to read it out on this call to hopefully inspire some of you. This guy made some insane changes, and, he wanted to stay anonymous and didn't want to come on the podcast and talk about it. But I think if he was sitting here today, I know you guys didn't know him in the past, but like I sometimes will like listen to him talk or just like read his posts, and it's like, wow, I can't believe this is the same person that I met 3 years ago who was like shy, very fucking angry at the world, like hyper masculine, very like quick to get enraged, very quick to just like run away from any sort of situation and not deal with it, just leave all the time, and had like no conflict resolution skills, didn't want to talk to anyone, didn't want to be honest about things, just wanted to like run away. Like, my God, this guy has like come a long way. And I'll say it again, I've said it a million times. I'm so grateful that this is what I get to do. This is like such a beautiful thing. You guys and girls don't understand how fucking amazing it is to be able to like coach people and to get to sit here and like watch someone transform themselves and go through this beautiful journey. And then, like in this guy's case, see that person then take on some of that role, and they don't have to, but like they choose to, they want to take on that role of coaching, and they start coaching each other or coaching other people. That's like a big part of the coaching, honestly, is like, I feel like I don't do a whole lot in the coaching. Obviously I do, or people wouldn't pay me obscene amounts of money for it. But like, I feel like a lot of it is we built this community where people will coach each other. And like, I have the 3 other coaches in the program as well, who all give their input as well, on top of me coaching people. And then in the members only community section, like the Discord that people stay in for life, my God, that's just like its own little fucking coaching program where like everyone coaches each other. And there's people in there who are good at like giving up porn or giving up addiction, people who are amazing at starting businesses. Like there's people that are massively out earning me, and they give amazing, we've got millionaires in there. We have 2 millionaires in there who are like giving this amazing advice. We have people that are amazing with sex and dating and BDSM, people that are more experienced at all of that stuff than me. And it's this like beautiful little community. And I can't believe that I get to like sit there and be part of it. And then what's even weirder is that it has my name attached to it. That's the weird fucking trippy thing. At times I just, like I said, I wake up and I'm like, is this my life? Like, holy shit, I can't believe that I get to live in this beautiful like gratitude community where everybody's so damn nice to each other and everyone's so damn supportive and everyone's like achieving these big goals or starting the baby steps towards transforming their lives. So yeah, I'm unbelievably grateful. If you would like more help with any of the stuff that I just mentioned, if you want coaching, I'll leave a link in the description below to that. I have a big hardcore coaching program, but I also have Babby's First Coaching, which is like $200 coaching calls. You can sit down with me, and that's sort of like your baby steps into coaching or therapy or motivation or whatever it is that you would like from me. So links in the description below to that. As always, ladies and gentlemen, go out there and crush those goals. And I'm super grateful for all of you, for all of the beautiful abundance that I have in my life. And I wish you nothing but love.